Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a book review for you. Let's go. So I've been saying for a long time that I wanted to read more self-published or indie fantasy. And I finally did it in October, and I'm so happy I did. I read Song by Jesse Teller. It is book one in the Manhunters trilogy. And let me tell you guys, it is just a really fantastic and fun book. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but just to kind of give you a general overview of what it is. It follows a character named Rafe Ivoryfist. He's a wizard. He was at one time court wizard to the king, and for various reasons, part of it a personal distaste for the current king, he stepped down from his position as court wizard. And for a while, he was also warden of a prison, which was home to various villains of a supernatural nature. And at some point before the book begins, he had stepped away from that as well. And he's in a tavern with somebody, and he is visited by a young boy who tells him that the prison has been overrun and virtually destroyed by a band of evildoers headed up by a man called Black Cowl. And so for the majority of the book, we are following Rafe Ivoryfist as he goes back to the prison to find out what happened and assembles a band of allies to help him hopefully defeat the forces of Black Cowl. And it's just a really, really fun ride. Now, it is a dark fantasy tale. I wouldn't say it's grimdark, because there is a very strong thread of hope that floats along through the story as you're reading it. And that is not something grimdark is known for. So if you only like to read grimdark fantasy, this may not be for you, but it definitely is dark fantasy. And I don't really know anyone who just reads grimdark and nothing else. But it's very definitely dark fantasy. It is very violent at times, and just a fantastic ride. Some of the characters that you're introduced to through the story, Rafe Ivoryfist being one of them, of course. He's the main protagonist. He is liked in some circles and hated in others. There's many that are out for revenge against him, and they're always just kind of trying to set him up to fail and to attack him and things like that. So it's really interesting to follow his storyline in book one. I felt like there was a lot more to know about Rafe Ivoryfist that we didn't get in book one. And so I think I would have liked to know more about his character in the first book, but that's okay. I'm assuming that maybe we'll get more information about him in books 2 and 3. The second book is called Hemlock, and the final book is called Crown. So I am planning to read those soon. I don't know how soon, probably not until after the first of the year, but I am going to get to them. So things that you might really enjoy in this book are the magic, for one. What was just phenomenally done. It was really intense and engaging to watch the magic happening as Rafe uses it, and other wizards who use it as well. There are other court wizards who are the current court wizards to the king. that engage in battle with Rafe Ivory Fist, and there's a secret coven of wizardly people that gets together behind the scenes, Rafe being one of them, to talk about the current state of affairs in the kingdom and how to put another king on the throne who everyone approves of. So there's a lot of politics going on behind the scenes. And I was pleasantly surprised to see some familiar characters. So Jesse writes in a multiverse called Paralisk. And I don't know if it's necessarily a multiverse, but it's an expanded universe for sure. And in the world of Paralisk, some of the characters overlap with each other. And so the first book that I read from Jesse Taylor, well, in fact, the only other one that I've read so far, I want to read more. The only other one I've read so far is a book called Leafdom. And that follows a fey creature called Gentry Mandrake. And he is assigned to protect a newborn baby who will eventually one day be king. And so Gentry does pop up in this book. So, and that's all I'll say. But you need to read Leafdom too. It is a fantastic book. I can't recommend that enough. Jesse has a way with words. And I think that's another thing that you will really enjoy in this book is the prose. It's not extremely flowery. It's definitely not purple. But it is definitely beautiful to read, and it grabs you and just engages you in the story. Some of the descriptions of the characters in the book are really vivid and powerful. I was just blown away by some of the way that the characters were described. Just fantastic. So the prose is definitely something that you're going to enjoy if you read this book. But if you don't enjoy super flowery prose, you're good to go because this is not super flowery. And then the characters as well are fantastic. The whole story mostly focuses on Rafe and his band of allies that he brings together to defeat Black Cowl. But there's a few other minor characters that you see from time to time. You don't find out a whole lot about them, so it's not an expanded cast of characters where you're trying to keep up with all the names of everybody. There's just a select few that you focus on and are important to the story unfolding. So just a really fun tale. I felt a lot of classic fantasy vibes reading it. A lot of sword and sorcery vibes reading it as well. This is what I would call a soft magic system. In other words, so in terms of soft and hard, a hard magic system is one where you typically think of something like Brandon Sanderson writes, where it's a bunch of rules and everything is constructed in just such a way that everything follows all the laws of nature and the universe in such a way that it all makes sense scientifically, and there's all these minute details as to how the magic works. That is not this book. It's a soft magic system, and I tend to prefer soft magic systems. I don't want magic systems that I have to think about too hard. I just like to see the magic happen, right? And that is what this book is. It's you see the magic happen. There's not a whole lot of talk about exactly how it was done and why it was done and what flaws it has, so that if something goes this way, then the magic won't work. It's just the magic is there and it's powerful and it's just OMG, you know? And not that I don't like Brandon Sanderson's magic systems. I do for the most part, but I tend to prefer more of a soft magic system. So be warned if you're really into hard magic systems and that's the only thing you like to read, you may not enjoy this that much, but I don't think that's the case. Most fantasy readers I know can go either way on magic systems. But if you enjoy Lord of the Rings and you enjoy the type of magic that Gandalf uses, his was a very soft magic system. It's just uber powerful, but not many rules to it, right? You will feel right at home with this book, I think. So I'm kind of thinking through still my whole rating system and whether or not I want a rating system, things like that. I'll talk more about that in another video. But as of right now, I am giving this a solid 4 stars. It was a great read. I recommend it highly, and I will most likely read it again. So, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have you read this book before? Have you heard of Jesse Teller before? If you haven't, I'm going to leave a link in the description below where you can check out his website. He also has a YouTube channel where he talks about his writing process, and it is just phenomenal to get a window into his writing world. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description as well. So please check Jesse out. He is a phenomenal writer, and he's just full of just great ideas, huge imagination, and he's just a really cool guy. I've chatted with him personally. He is just phenomenal. Check him out, and let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure that you are reading more books, guys. I will talk to you soon. Take care.